Thank you all so much for tuning in to this week's GH Talk. I hope you all had a great week and are having an even better weekend. Before we talk about this week's episodes, it was brought to my attention that GH has fallen into 4th and last place in the ratings. The soap was overtaken by Days of Our Lives for the week of April 30th through May 4th. I want to show you which categories that the soap placed 4th. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll leave the link in the description so you can see them for yourself. For total viewers, you can see that GH is now in last place. It's not as dramatic as it seems because they've been holding on to the number 3 spot by the hair on their chin. Also, there are only 4 soaps left. You can also see where Days is, and that it's the only soap last week to have increased in viewership. What I'm thinking is that their Emmy wins on that Sunday helped to boost their viewership. It's not uncommon for GH and Days to switch places for the 3rd and 4th slot, so next week you may see GH right back up there. The only ones that don't move is YNR and B&B. The numbers that you see in parentheses for GH represents last week's totals versus this week's and last year's totals versus this year. Within a week, General Hospital lost 56,000 viewers, and compared to last year, they lost 162,000. That's a lot of people. If you look at Young and the Restless, compared to last week, they lost 174,000 viewers. But they have over 4 million in total viewership. They have people to spare. GH also came in 4th with women 18 to 34 in rating and 18 to 34 in viewers. The latter category is the only one that hasn't changed since last week. Many of us fans took to Twitter to discuss this. Some were calling for others to start watching the show because we don't want to lose our soap opera. Even if we don't like what's going on, we need to support it because this is a critical time for soap operas. It wasn't until I joined Twitter that I became acquainted with the Fire Frank hashtag. Many fans have expressed that Frank is not doing what's best for the show and that he's not listening to viewers. People want to see more stories that's centered around the vets and legacy characters, like Elizabeth Weber, who by the way is now an accessory to Franco. Instead, we have these new character creations that are currently flopping. Some people don't like Peter, and about 98% of fans hate Nell. However, the biggest and most recent flop, in my opinion, is Tamra Braun's Kim Nero. Now, this has nothing to do with the actress because Tamra is phenomenal. She was my Carly when I first started watching. Yet the character of Kim serves no purpose. When she first hit town, fans speculated that she would have an ulterior motive, that she would cause drama between Sam and Drew, or that she was possibly Drew's long-lost wife. We got none of that. One thing about General Hospital is that the audience knows everything. There is really nothing that's lying in wait to catch us by surprise. What you see is what you get, and that's a problem because there's nothing thrilling about it. Instead, we have Kim in this tired-ass relationship with a man she won't even call by his real name. Charlie's supposed to be cute. I couldn't even watch all of General Hospital last week. I had tuned out on Wednesday. I remember that Kim and Julian were in the hospital and they were kind of having the same conversation that she's had before with her concerns of Drew being too much of a macho man to a sensitive Oscar. That's not must-see TV during sweeps. That's not must-see TV at all. The character of Kim should have never been created, especially since it's been leaked that the new actress who's been hired on, Miss Elizabeth Hendrickson, will be playing opposite Drew as his possible love interest. Also, giving Drew Oscar for his son didn't need to happen. They should have hired the actor to play a teenage Cameron Weber. You remember Cameron Weber, don't you? Elizabeth's firstborn son with Xander Smith? A teenage Cameron could have provided Liz with some much-deserved screen time. My question to those who are watching who have called for Frank to be fired, who do you think should take his place? I honestly can't see him being fired, and I don't feel confident that someone would be able to step up to the plate and turn the show around. Because we've complained about writers and storylines before, so what's to say if someone new comes in that things will change. Some have said they'd like to see Wendy back as head writer or one of the others from the past. I would like for someone new to come in. We need a breath of fresh air. Someone needs to breathe new life into this soap, but I don't want someone who doesn't understand General Hospital or know their history or isn't a fan. And also, do you think that with soaps not being as profitable as they once were, that the network doesn't care to make improvements for their last standing soap? I mean, who knows? Maybe they're just waiting to cancel it so they can extend the chew for an extra hour. I've already posted a video on my channel discussing the improvements that I believe need to be made on the show. If you'd like to watch it, you can find it on my YouTube channel. It's gotten over 70,000 views, and many fans agree with me, as well as throwing in what their opinions are and what they'd like to see done to improve the show as well. So now that we've talked about that, let's discuss this week's episodes. The storyline that's gotten plenty of buzz amongst GH fans is the gaslighting of Carly by Nell, which is also known as Penguin Gate. There are a lot of people who are enjoying this story and watching Carly get her just desserts. Yet, when I went to GH's comment section on their Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, there is a cry from hundreds, if not thousands, for them to end this story. I mean, the ratio of negative comments to positive, if I had to guess, would be 12-1. And there's probably more than that. At the end of the day, I do realize that the show isn't going to please everyone all the time. It's just not possible, and I haven't set that expectation. But when thousands of fans are saying the same thing, maybe you should listen. I don't hate the Nell storyline, but I agree it is going on longer than necessary. People have short attention spans, and these stories really shouldn't last more than 6 months. And as I mentioned earlier, with these stories, what you see is what you get. It's all very predictable. Of course, Nell didn't lose her baby. I said on Twitter that it would have been better had Carly fallen down the stairs, causing Nell's plan to backfire and putting her in the hot seat. I even was hoping Ava would have found out about Nell's plans using Morgan sooner, or that since she was blackmailing her by using the photo, that she would go to Carly and they would work together to neutralize Nell. Back in February, when Nell made that first phone call, many of us knew that we would have to depend on Jason to figure this all out. Where's the twist in all of this? I need a jump scare. I need something good. There's no it factor. Not only that, but you currently have everybody ready to hang Carly except for Jason. When it comes to Jocelyn, I don't expect much from her. Every time her mother tries to check her about Nell, she's always sitting there whining, "But Mom, she gave me a kidney." I'm starting to wish she hadn't. If anyone was to believe Carly about Nell, it should have been Sonny. He saw firsthand the type of woman Nell is. Jason pointed out to Sonny that Carly wouldn't push Nell down the stairs, especially while she was carrying her grandchild. Even Bobby said this to him at the nurses' ball. However, this is Sonny we're talking about. He's not going to believe anything unless he has hard evidence, which is complete BS in this case, because all the evidence he needs is his own experience with Nell. Sonny should be completely open to the idea that Nell would lie on Carly, just like she lied to him, causing him to think that they did the hanky-panky. Sonny went around believing the worst for months, all because this chick wanted revenge against his wife.
You tore my family, my wife, everything apart over a lie. There's something wrong with you.
Though, believe it or not, I've said this repeatedly throughout this story, Michael is the one who is disappointing me and frustrating me the most. It wasn't until Nell entered his life that I realized how weak the character has become. I need Michael to buy a BS detector because he clearly didn't inherit one from his mom or his uncle Jason. I've been saying for months that Michael needs to get some fire and edge back into his personality. He's really stale. He also had a first seat the first time around when Nell was exposed. Michael even told Nell.
Okay, before you start, you need to understand, I believe my parents. If my father says he slept with you, he did. If he says you recorded him, you did.
Michael hasn't flat out said who he believes, but I hope that he really listens to what Jason said before he makes his thoughts clear. But I have a feeling that I'm going to be sorely disappointed. As soon as Michael found out that the baby was good, he should have left Nell to see about his mother and ask for her side of the story. For months, we've had to listen to this man say that he doesn't trust Nell, which is why he can't be with her. Yet he's not on guard at all when it comes to this woman. And contrary to what Jason told him, he does not have good instincts. Cause if he did, he would have kept his junk in the trunk and not brought that liar into his bed. He would have listened to his mama and ran cross country and got away from Nell. Although if he had have done that, we wouldn't have this messy story right now.
You stupid.
As I mentioned before, many of us already knew that Jason would have to step in and bring order to this situation. Still, it would have been interesting if Michael had caught Nell contradicting herself. Then have him show up at the PCPD and tell Carly, I know you didn't push Nell down the stairs, Mom. I know she's lying. Then at that point, Michael could have done all he could to prove that Carly was right, even if he had to play Nell. I want Michael to be a player in this game. I feel like the show is always happening to him. I want him to sometimes be the show. That goes for Dante too. I saw the rumors that Dominic Zampronia might be leaving. Nothing has been confirmed. It's just something that was going around social media. But if he did leave, I wouldn't blame him. He is not being utilized to his fullest extent. He is such an amazing talent. However, his character hasn't been hot since his initial arrival to Port Charles. Now he's nothing but a prop cop with criminals and most civilians solving his crimes. They did him dirty back in November during the launch party. Dante tried to take control of the situation, but of course, Drew, Sonny, and Jason were the heroes. I want Michael to show Carly the same loyalty that he showed Sonny. Also, the writers need to give the PCPD their balls back. They don't know how to properly conduct an investigation. They don't have a sixth sense. The best that the PCPD ever was under Robert Scorpio. I mean, Jason might as well become Detective Morgan. He's among some of the only ones who's able to solve a crime in PC. It's obvious that Carly is going to be committed as a way to avoid jail time. Now, the question that I have now, the only one that's not predictable, is when will this foolishness end? I don't want Nell to be killed off. I want to see Karma drag the mess out her ass. I also want to see Michael drag too if he doesn't get his mind right. Outside of what happened with Nell this week, there were only a few other things that I took away from this week's episode. I felt sad for Alexis. She got her feelings hurt after she heard Finn say what she already knew, that he wanted Anna. As I said, I'm over Fana. I feel as though they should have already got together months ago. Anna is still so very focused on getting with her son Heinrich. Fingers crossed that the truth comes out before Friday. I'm just ready to stop seeing Anna be so fragile. Thank goodness that someone with guts, unlike Griffin, knows Peter's real identity. Sam found the lighter on his desk and called Jason. Drew saw them together and he looked incredibly heartbroken. I don't feel sad for him for being left out on what's currently going on. Because let's keep it 100, he hasn't made any real effort to get in on this investigation. He's only complained and tried to distance himself from the one person who was really trying to look for his memories. Drew did go to Andre this week, but their conversation didn't yield any new results. I am looking forward to the fallout of the reveal. It is the only real juicy thing that is happening this month. I am so ready for Nina to let Valentine have it. I thought Peter would be exposed at the ball, but it looks as though that may not happen since he and Maxie left as she went into labor on the way home. I'm conflicted when it comes to those two. If he hadn't played a part in what happened with Nathan, I would be okay if they were more than friends. He's been good to Maxie, and it looks as though he will be helping and bringing his niece or nephew into the world. Do you think it's going to be a boy? I believe it will, and Maxie will end up naming him after Nathan. I'm sure that the scenes with Maxie when she finds out the truth about Peter are going to be awesome because Kirsten is so wonderful when it comes to bringing that heartbreak. The nurses' ball got underway this week. We saw the return of Robin and Emma. Lucy walked the red carpet with her llama. We even got to see Epiphany and Felix as they helped to open the show of the nurses' ball along with the other GH nurses. Except for Elizabeth. Why wasn't Elizabeth a part of the performance? Dante tricked Chase, but it backfired. He rocked his performance. Nina helped Curtis with his act and he proposed to Jordan. Stella was not pleased. Am I the only one who doesn't care for Jordan and Curtis? As a couple, that is. I don't hate them together or anything like that, just I'm not invested. Like if they broke up tomorrow or if Jordan was killed off, I would have no feelings to spare. There were other performances, of course. I loved seeing Ned come back as Eddie Main. It reminds me of the nurses' ball of the past. Valentine even gave a heartfelt performance. However, the best performance of the night was given by Robert Scorpio as he approached Valentine and punched his ass out on the stage. That's the least of what he deserves after what he did to Robert. Did Nina see this happen? I didn't see her when they cut away to everybody as he was approaching him. Kiki needs to report Dr. B Creepy. When he said that she could go to the ball, I thought, you'll let her do this, but you wouldn't let her leave when her sister was missing? What a calculated man. Of course he would show up there at the ball. Since the actress Haley Aaron is going to be involved with the Pretty Little Liars spinoff, I want to know if she'll be leaving GH or if they'll find a way for her to still be included on the show. My favorite moments from this week was Jason backing up Carly and standing by her side, and when he gave Nell the stone cold death stare. Also seeing Ava get the upper hand on Nell by using the blanket. But this is going to backfire so bad on her. She's gonna have Sonny gunning for Avery again when he finds out, and Griffin is going to walk out on her just like Michael is going to walk out on Nell. That's if Michael has a brain. Those are a few of my thoughts on this week's moments. Are you worried about General Hospital falling into 4th place, or do you think that this is just nothing at all to be concerned about? Do you agree with my opinion that Kim is an unnecessary character, or do you like the character of Kim? What do you think of Nell? Are you loving her? Are you hating her? Do you want this mess to end, or are you just super psyched that Carly is finally getting what she deserves? And with Peter, are you ready to see the fallout? I really do hope that Robin sticks around long enough to find out that she has a brother. And the nurses' ball, who do you think looked the best? I loved Elizabeth's dress, and Alexis looked very pretty. Are you looking forward to seeing Ava's performance next week? And do you like the nurses' ball more so now, or do you like the nurses' ball as it was then? Because man, oh man, it's nothing like it was. It's nothing like it used to be. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care.